Oh, and someone just asked about the A+ oils for the brain waves. It is the brainwaves and vital centers class. We put up that if you get the A+ kit, and the A+ kit is the vital centers oils. So
yeah, they're not something that is, the blends are not on the website, and we probably won't put them on the website. We'll probably just sell them as kits. Because they don't, I mean, you could use them individually, but they're really made to function as a kit. And so,
so
yeah, they're new blends specifically for this protocol.
Yeah, I will paste what those 11 vital center oils will be, and so you'll have those. But Mary, your hand's raised.
Hey, Mary.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I actually have a question about the vital centers and whatever's coming up. I know that you're getting into the brainwaves, which sounds absolutely fascinating. I am sure that I am not the only one out there who works a 40-hour or better week every week. I am loving your classes. I so totally appreciate the how life-changing they are. But I will tell you that I run behind on them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know, I can go ahead and do that. That weekend is actually halfway already filled up for me, so I'd be missing half of it. I don't know. I know there's been some classes in the past that either the recording isn't full, and I don't know if that's on purpose or not. So I kind of hesitate to go ahead and do that. And I'm wondering, I don't mean that as a negative.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. Yeah,
and I'm kind of wondering, how are these all going to be available for purchase even afterwards? I feel almost overwhelmed over the past.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can count on that if I don't do it, they will be available.
Yeah. We'll always kind of have them in the class. This probably won't be the only time I teach it, but it will be recorded. I think we had 1 or 2 classes where there was some issue with the storage where we lost some of the recording.
Well, it's been recent.
It was a recent one. Which one was it? I don't know that we're aware of that.
Yeah, I can. It was the Kundalini one. So what? Sacred Fire.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody's addressed it. I don't believe I missed anything.
No,
I looked several times and went, that's interesting. I was around that weekend. I honestly made my own recording. So I'm okay. I would think
what part's missing, by the way? What part's missing?
Go ahead and look. I think it was 2 days there. It started, I believe, later on the Saturday or ended. I don't know if it was early on one and late on the other or whatever, but there was, I want to say I got about half of it over 2 days. And I could be wrong. I went in to go for the recording so I could watch the video, and I do realize it wasn't there. And it was like, oh, okay, fine. But I didn't know if it was on purpose or not. I thought maybe if you were going to put it out there, just put it out there. Maybe there were things
we'll
that
have to investigate. Yeah.
Okay. And I just, and that's, neither here nor there. I just kind of wanted to make sure that they were going to be available. I just feel so behind that, working so much and being unavailable. It's like there's been so much so fast that I feel like I can't incorporate it all. So it's like hit or miss on what am I going to pull today.
Right.
And I know I'm not the only one feeling that. So what do you suggest?
I would suggest doing something that kind of talks to you in the here and now for where you're at.
Okay, so anything upcoming will be available, and you will offer the kit again, or consistently?
Yeah, we have the kits made, so like because people will always come and purchase the class even after the fact, and so we still send them the kit, and like the class is happening, and send out the recording and the kit and all that. So don't feel that you need to do it right now. You can always
and that's kind of what I was doing, is going, I'm not sure how long they're going to be available, or such.
They're going to be around.
Like, grab them while I can.
Yeah. And then a lot of times what happens is if we teach it, again, then when we send out the recordings, we send you out both recordings.
Oh, I know. I keep an eye on that, and I do that constantly. And there's like very few, little that I've actually missed. It's just a matter of I can't sit here. Usually weekends are my work time. So it's like, I will take that recording and I'll listen an hour a day or whatever, but it'll take me a month to get through something. And then the next,
Yeah.
you know, the next thing is, it's overwhelming. But, and I'm also curious, do you know where you're going with the brainwaves? I know that you had mentioned a week or two ago, whenever I was last here, I wasn't here this last weekend, but I know you had said you're going to do all the chakras one by one. I'm wondering if that's 7, 9, or is it going to be, and I think
11.
you said you were going to do
All
one a
11.
month, and I'm wondering where it's going from there. Do you know?
It's going to be all 11. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know where it's going?
What do you mean where
Or
it's going?
Well, I don't know. I heard you talk the first time about brainwaves a year ago, and all of a sudden it's like
Mhm.
here. I'm going, well, that's interesting. Is it going to be just like all 11 of them put out there, and was there more to it, or is that? I don't want to have to say is that it, but
they'll be tied together in some of the other classes, like the materialization will have an aspect of brainwaves, and then even the healing classes, like for pain and for other things, they already have a foundation of brainwave function built within, but I just didn't talk about it. And so we'll be coming back around and talking a little bit more in depth about that, and also when it comes to like sleep and memory. And so the brainwave information will be integrated into all the other processes for physical and psychological healing and for materialization as well.
well, and is it going to be new classes on that, or is I just love doing the
Some of them
repeats
we
because
might
I get
just-
something out of it every time that I didn't get the first time?
Some of it might be like a study group where we just have like a little free study group where we go back and revisit it, and then I add on some information. And if it's a lot of information, we might make it into a new like advanced class or something.
Okay, and I'll tell you, I absolutely loved, especially the Tuesday nights, because it's 2 hours. I can get through 2 hours
Right.
and
right.
get
That's-
something out of it, which is
yeah.
fabulous. And I get more
Yeah.
out of these sometimes than I do the entire weekend.
Yeah, sure.
I
It
don't
fits
mean
into your
to, you know.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Wednesday, or in April, we're going to start doing Wednesdays where we just take an hour and, again, trying to just fit it into everybody's schedule and just do a segment out of one of the classes. Regardless if you've had the class or not, it will be open to everybody. And just to do like a little review on that one little segment and go through and, practice it. And so less Q&A and just doing something just right out of one of the booklets. And
You know
so-
what? And that's great. Typically what I do is if I can just
Mhm.
get this recording on a Tuesday night, I load it on so I can see where the, I load on a program so I can actually see where the meditation starts.
Mhm.
And I'll take that to bed with me, and it's fabulous. So anyway, I'm
And-
just totally
and
enjoying these.
So one of the things that we're also doing is, I've been over the last, 6 weeks or so, I've been writing a bunch of information that, like the newsletter has the oil of the week or whatever that we just talk about, and then Michael and I talk about it. Is I have about 80 or 90 oils that I'm making the encyclopedia for all the different applications of that particular oil, and we're going to be putting that in each of the booklets. Like every time, I'm still polishing it up and still wanting to add more information. And so kind of every spare moment I get, I'm adding more information to that. So that could be a reference book for everybody. And then the booklets themselves, we're in the process of making recordings for like the different patterns that we do and the different applications, sustained inhalation versus ointment versus, a spray or a liniment. And we're making little videos of them. And so we're going to turn the book into being something interactive. And so like if you have it in a PDF, whatever you're looking at, you could hit that segment and it will take you to YouTube and run you through the segment from your booklet. You choose the oil and then boom, it'll take you into a little guided session. And so even if you didn't go through and follow the class, we're trying to make it so that the booklet can be interactive and provide you with just a quick, life's on the run and you want to pick it up and do something, but you don't want to go through the whole class to get to that segment. You can just bring up the PDF and just start following the PDF and then start hitting the links do it as you go. And then even if there's an oil where you're like, okay, this has hyssop in it, I wonder what else hyssop would be good for, and you can hit the link and it'll take you to the information and to the YouTube page where it's, you know, me and somebody talking about, you know, the oil, like in depth. And so we're trying to make it as interactive and 21st century as possible. Just a lot of setup work to get it all to that point, but I'd say by summertime the booklets are going to look very, very different.
Well, it's been fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, that's the thing, you know, life is busy, and we all had time when COVID had the shutdown, but as things open up, we'll be out and doing things, and life is busy. So we're trying to help it and make it as user friendly as possible.
Great. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, go ahead, Peggy.
Hey, Miss Peggy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I can't believe it. Sometimes I look and I've got oils, you know, different trays of oils, and sometimes I can't find one that I want until I don't need it. And then I find it. It's like my eyes.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
I can't find my mugwort at the moment. And so does
Right.
Artemisia, does that, can I, if you were going to do
Yeah.
something with the mugwort, could I substitute?
Yes.
It's here someplace. It's hiding. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Even the
much.
kit that where we have the normal kit, it's coming up for the Vital Center thing. We're trying to make it so like you can just leave it as a little kit, and so when you want your Vital Centers, you can just pull that out and it can do everything. So
That
way,
works good.
yeah,
But
that
what
way
is-
you can just have kits for the classes, and then, you know, we tend to have a little bit of overlap, and you know, and then you scramble around trying to find it for this class or that class, and we're trying to make it so, again, it's as user friendly and cuts down time and everything. And so we're going to do a new approach with the Vital Centers, and make it as turnkey as possible.
Well, isn't Vital Centers half a title? What's the first half of the title?
Oh, brainwaves and Vital Centers. Yeah.
So brainwaves, if I ordered the brainwaves,
That will only get you part there. There's a
That's
whole section, and actually, you know what, Vital Centers is out of Astara. Like it's in the second degree lesson, where after she talks about the blood, and then she
Okay.
lists the 11 vital centers, she makes reference to the vital centers and the zodiac. And so you know, I've written 3 or 4 classes just based on that little section on Astara.
so the brainwaves are separate than the Vital Center oils. There's like two
Yes.
bunches that goes with that particular
Yes.
class.
Yeah.
Okay,
The vital centers are all to calm down your limbic responses, which are your physiology and like emotions kind of
Yeah.
mixed point. And so,
Okay.
you know, we had a couple of people where, you know, they were getting triggered really easy and getting agitated really easy. And we didn't even do patterns. I just had them sit and inhale the different oils, and it just took them to very neutral place, and then something happened that would normally trigger them, and they were just like, they could observe it, and it was like not even a trigger.
good. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're so
Yeah, so I just want to add really quick, because I've had this question emailed to us a lot, and the Brainwaves kit, you're going to be able to utilize
yeah, it's gonna be
every single
bunch of
brain
classes.
class. And different brainwaves are really hit in each class. So you will use the brainwaves kit in every class. Maybe not the whole kit, but definitely you will. And the Sacred Fire, the very first brainwave class, you can use the whole kit in that class. And I just want to make sure everyone kind of understood the brainwaves kit is utilized in every single brainwaves class, and you can play with them just on their own. They're really strong. So and let's see if anyone else has their hand raised. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. We can't hear you. You are unmuted, but we can't hear you. Sorry, we still can't hear you. So sometimes if you come out and come back in, we'll be able to hear. But as soon as your microphone's working, we're happy to answer whatever question you might have. Is Artemisia the same as wormwood or different plant?
Different plant. Wormwood is in the Artemisia family, but Artemisia, we called the Artemisia because that's what it used to be called in medical aromatherapy when they would refer to mugwort. And the mugwort and the Artemisia come from different regions. But wormwood is actually a different plant. And so wormwood is kind of in the same vein of those things, but it's a little bit darker. It has a different smell. And even tarragon is in the Artemisia family. And so Davana is in the Artemisia family. So there's several plants that are Artemisias, but Artemisia and mugwort kind of go hand in hand. Wormwood starts to be a little bit of a different animal.
And go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Sorry, we still can't hear you. Oh, there we go. Go.
Hey, Chris.
Is that working?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
So I had used OneNote to scan the booklet and it became a searchable document. So whenever I come up with an issue, I'm able to
Oh, wow.
pull up OneNote and say upset stomach, and it'll find different oils and different parts that come up with upset stomach. So that's one way to maybe make it an easier searchable.
Wow. Okay. So you downloaded it in the OneNote?
No, well, I just took my phone scanner and through OneNote scanned a PDF of each page of the booklet, and it turned it into an OCR scannable document.
Wow.
So I was able to easily, anytime I'm in, open my OneNote and I look for an oil, I can either go for the oil or the symptom and it'll find it for me.
Oh, tremendous.
So I just wanted to share that as something.
Boy, thank you for sharing that. That's a big one.
Yeah, that was a big help for me, having it
Yeah.
all on my phone.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go into your chats. Which one was he just talking about for the trigger neutralizer class?
Oh, the brainwaves and vital centers. It targets limbic function.
Are there two kits for the brainwaves and vital centers? Do we order both? Do we choose one or order both?
The vital centers kit is all the vital centers, and there's a vital kit center too. Brainwave kit as well. And so the brainwave kit gets used in a bunch of different classes. Brainwaves are going to be in several of the classes throughout the year, and so you'll be able to use that kit in everything. The vital centers is specific to this. It's not about the brainwaves. It's just about the vital centers themselves, the limbic centers.
But I think you're wondering, yeah, there is a kit. If you pay the $225 early bird price, you get a kit for the class, which is what Greg always does. So you're able to take the class and participate. If you want an A+ choice for that class, it is the Vital Centers A+ oils kit. And so that one's another option. You do not have to buy both.
No.
Go ahead, Balaji.
Hey, Balaji.
Hi, good evening. Thank you.
Hey.
Hi. So a quick question, Greg.
Hmm?
For the past 2 days, I've had this stiff lower back, and I've tried the low back release from the pain management class, and
Hmm.
I still doesn't seem to have release. So I'm just wondering what else can I do?
It looks like it's your kidneys.
Oh, okay.
Have you been like regular urination or excessive urination or not urinating as much? Any of those?
No, it's been okay. It's been okay. It's just that, like with work, maybe maybe I hold it a lot longer than I should. I guess maybe. That's the.
Yeah. Let's have you take a couple drops of like lovage. Do you have lovage, or if not, like parsley or juniper internally, and then do the part for using like the higher consciousness, or use tarragon or galbanum or anise,
Mm-hmm.
and do the sinus pattern, and then do the digestive tract pattern. Like
Okay.
take some of the tension out of the gut, and I bet you that knocks it out. If it doesn't knock it out in 24 hours or so, email us and let us know.
Sorry, Greg, one more time. The sinus pattern and
Digestive tract, the
digestive.
digestive pattern.
All right, and that's from the higher consciousness class, you said?
No, use the blend higher consciousness,
Oh,
or yeah.
I don't have the higher consciousness, so
So tarragon, galbanum, anise, like any of those will work.
okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay. And then like when you said like parsley internally, maybe a couple of drops, is it? Or
Yeah.
okay, great. Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
it looks like it's just like tension in the smooth muscle, and it looks like the kidneys are just not regulated.
Okay.
Not bad, just a little tiny bit.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Thank you very much.
But if it doesn't clear up in 24 hours, let us know.
I will. Okay, thank you.
Just going through the chat here. If you guys have a question, go ahead and raise your hand or just unmute yourself. Okay, I don't mean to spend so much time on this, but I can tell it's still confusing for people. So there is the brainwaves kit, which has the 5 brainwaves and that will be able to be utilized throughout all of Greg's brainwave classes. And if you just want to do inhalations of them. The class coming up called Brainwaves and Vital Centers. The Vital Centers is the A+ kit that Greg is offering. If you just purchase that kit, you can take the Brainwaves and Vital Centers class for free. If you want to just do the Brainwaves and Vital Centers class, it's the regular price as usual, and you will get a kit with that as well. It's just to give people who really want those A+ choices the ability to, be able to get those A+ choices before class actually happens. I hope that cleared that up again. Right. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask? We had a handful of people come in before we were able to just let you guys know. If you didn't get the newsletter, we did have an interview with Greg for Mugwort. He and Michael were talking about it, and that's on YouTube. And I'll put a link in here in the chat as well for that. So you can enjoy. And if there aren't any more questions, I think we'll just maybe get started for the day.
Okay.
I have a
Well,
question.
Yeah, fire away.
Hi, how are you?
Lou?
Somebody who has asthma, like severe respiratory issues, what would you recommend?
Like tell me what severe respiratory issues means.
when he eats, he starts coughing. If hair
How
product,
how old's this person?
65.
Okay, so when he eats, he starts coughing. Okay, and what else?
If he comes in contact with somebody and their breath is in his face, he starts coughing.
Hmm.
Constant mucus buildup, just constant spitting of mucus.
Constant spitting of mucus. And does, I mean, history of bronchitis or pneumonia or anything like that?
Was
Is it
just
possible?
3 years ago, a doctor said it was what do you call it? Work from work. It the person does like construction, carpentry type of work and never wore a mask.
Oh. Hmm. So did he get diagnosed with like COPD or anything like that?
It wasn't called it's kind of like asthma, so to speak. It wasn't COPD though, but asthma. But so sometimes it's like severe coughing, and the coughing, I didn't even know that coughing reduces the oxygen in the body.
Are we talking about emphysema?
No, it's not emphysema, but the
Okay.
coughing, like if there's a severe coughing,
Uh-huh.
because when you're coughing, you're not breathing.
Right. Okay, so we have mucus, we have a lot of chronic coughing. So a couple of things. You know, and a lot of times like something like this, you kind of have to treat because people also have like different temperaments somewhat, and it's not all, excuse me, like a clear path to how to treat it. How is his health otherwise?
Good. It's always
Good.
been good until this happened.
Okay. So this is, and did he have COVID this year or anything like that?
No.
No. Okay. So he stayed healthy through that. And up until this respiratory issue, okay. Okay, so this is what I would say. These are like things to like kind of start exploring. Is one, we want to dry up the mucus, and there's a very there's several ways that you could do it, but there's a very like kind of practical way and inexpensive way of doing it, and there is an essential oil called terebinth, like T-E-R, yeah, T-E-R-E-B-I-N-T-H.
Can you spell it again?
Yeah, T-E-R-E-B-I-N-T-H. And we're putting it in the chat.
Okay.
And so this, you would just like open up the bottle and have him take long, slow, deep breaths, like kind of like directly from the bottle. And so in through his nose and out through his mouth. And the thing with that is it's one of the best things for drying up mucus. It doesn't really break it up like there's other things that will break it up. But here, there sounds like there's like a lot of excess, and we just need to kind of dry up the production. And so terebinth is really good for drying up the mucus. Now, you have another issue is that you have tension in the respiratory tract. That's I suspect he's probably also gulping air through his mouth. It's kind of I don't want to say a common thing, but it can also irritate the gut a little bit. And so one of the things that we use for that is anise or anise, however you want to say it. And again, he could just take long, slow, deep breaths with that. You could rub a little bit on his chest in like some lotion, like up really high, like where his throat and chest kind of meet. Or you could put a few drops in water and have him drink it. And that will relax the respiratory tract and the trachea, and not make the tendency to be so constricted. You know, sometimes the constriction can be almost like a little bit of a muscle spasm, or it could be the gulping of the air, could be irritating the stomach, and sometimes the cough will even start down in the gut and you know, produce a cough. And then you have a couple of things that you could tackle for chronic coughs. And the good thing about all of this is they're all relatively inexpensive oils. And so anise is not expensive, terebinth is not expensive. And then these other two, one is hyssop. And hyssop is always good for anything respiratory. Hyssop can be used. I mean, it's one of the ones that, you know, everybody should kind of have in their medicine cabinet. Now, there is a stronger for relaxing the diaphragm. It's a special type of hyssop called hyssop decumbens. And hyssop decumbens, you could use it to a much greater degree, and it has a much more deeper impact on the diaphragm, which would also help relax the muscles in the throat. And sometimes what happens is the muscles in the throat aid in lifting the rib cage to help with respiration, you know, the inhalation and exhalation. And when certain muscles, especially there's this one muscle referred to as the sternocleidomastoid, you don't need to know it, but it's the SCM. And when it gets really contracted, it causes a really bad spasmodic cough. And so by inhaling the hyssop, it relaxes the diaphragm, it relaxes the muscles in the neck, and it helps to deepen the breath and slow down the breath. And that's one that I would definitely put in the mix of all of that. And then there's an oil that is used for really chronic coughs. It has an anti-inflammatory property, and it's really quite gentle. It's so gentle that you could use it on children. And so sometimes when people's lungs are really irritated, they can't handle like harsh smells. And so the terebinth is really gentle, by the way. It has a scent, but it's not a very strong scent. The hyssop has a little bit of a eucalyptusy kind of smell, but the one oil that is really super good for chronic coughs is myrtle. Just the good old fashioned myrtle oil. And you know, you can again put several drops in your hand in the lotion and rub it on the chest, but have him inhale the oil several times a day, like 10, 15 long, slow, deep breaths at a time. Times where there's been chronic coughs, that has been very, very helpful. The combination is probably what we'll have to go after, but if you really just said like bottom line, if you didn't want to make it so complicated, I would probably just do the myrtle and the terebinth. The other two probably need to be explored, but you could probably start off with just doing those two, and I would think that he would get relief. You know, I think he would get relief pretty, you know, might be a couple of days of treatment, and you should see changes within the first day, but definitely by the second day.
Thank you. You know, I have a lot of essential oils, but I don't have any of those.
Well,
that
you know,
is amazing.
yeah, terebinth is basically pine, but it's the wood, and the pine oils don't quite dry things out the way the terebinth does. And these, you know, it's a really good. It takes the tension out of the smooth muscle of the respiratory tract. But one of the things that it's really good for is it helps to regulate the autonomic nervous system. And so sometimes we're either too much in like fight flight, or sometimes we can even be too much in rest and repair, but usually it's too much in fight flight. And so that can cause like tension in the respiratory tract, and the anise will calm that down substantially. And then hyssop is very old school. Like when I was first taught 30 years ago, you know, it was bread and butter, but it really fell off the US market. You know, people don't use it because if if you were to ingest a bunch of it, it's potentially like toxic. And so, here we don't ingest hyssop. There's other things that you could ingest, but hyssop is not one of them. And used to inhale, it relaxes the muscle, but it also helps to stimulate the medulla, which is the base of your skull on the backside. And the medulla has to do with like circulatory function, heart function, and respiratory function, like your respiratory rate. And so, I mean, hyssop is it's a really bread and butter oil to use for anything respiratory and anything circulatory. Because it has that regulating effect on those systems. And then the myrtle, myrtle is one of those ones where it gets kind of overlooked because, if you have respiratory things, you go to like a eucalyptus, or you go to, a hyssop or a rosemary, or, you go to kind of fancy things. And there's a lot of fancy respiratory oils, but myrtle is really good for chronic coughs. It's very anti-inflammatory, and it's so gentle that you could use it on an infant. And so, like eucalyptus, you really can't use on an infant. It's too strong, too overstimulating, too overpowering. But I mean, it would be okay, but it would be better to use myrtle. And so, there's different kinds of myrtle, but here you could just use a standard myrtle or like a green myrtle. We're in the Vital Center class, we have a new oil that we're doing. It's anise seed myrtle, like it's kind of anise and myrtle all together. And there's just these variations of myrtle, but we are not using it so much for our respiratory issues. We're using it more for the impact it has on the autonomic system. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And so, you have our email, and, within a few days or like a week of treatment, if that's not getting better, sometimes what we do is, like, if the oils aren't working, sometimes we'll switch over and I can suggest some herbal things you can get off of Amazon or from your health food store. And, let's do some things to get him feeling better. He's too young for stuff to be knocking him down like that.
You had said hyssop, and then you said decon something. Can you spell that word?
Oh, decumbens. Yeah, decumbens. DECUMBENS. So it's a variation of hyssop.
Okay, I never heard.
Hyssop decumbens. Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. A lot of times, like when other companies have hyssop, a lot of times they'll have the hyssop decumbens versus regular hyssop. And so, if you already had it, you might check and see that it's hyssop decumbens.
And Chris, your hand is up.
Hey, Chris.
So I wanted to give you an update with the black cumin for my dad's scar tissue.
Oh, yes.
So we've been to a couple other doctor's appointments since then, and even one of them, we were kind of talking back and forth, and he had mentioned it's the progression of his, digression, I guess, has been so prompt that it's most likely not due to scar tissue.
Okay.
Because it's just been compounding so quickly, like in the last 6 months, just testing his reflexes, they've substantially diminished in his upper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a very complex case because there's neuropathic issues, but then there's also the spinal cord injury where he had the laminectomy and the hardware put in.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go yesterday to get an x-ray and CT scans because he took a fall and he's been having more pain in his neck. So now we have to go back to one of his doctors to compare the previous scans with this one to see what kind of damage might have happened.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's just a noticeable balance issue. And like I said, the big thing for him is the hands clamping closed. He can't open them.
Like they just do, like he can't
Yeah.
open it up like
He
that.
cannot open them since the neck surgery. And it's just progressively gotten worse where they're closing and he can't. Even doing exercises cannot make them open to function.
Okay, give me just a second here. Let me look at something in my notes. Some of my notes are digital and some of them I'm you know, kind of old school with some of my older notes. And let me see if I have them in my digital notes. You know, I have a big stack of old notes that are all handwritten.
Yeah, that's where the OneNote came in for me, trying to get all of my information together.
And so did they test for any sort of autoimmune issue? I'm just curious.
I couldn't honestly tell you all of the tests that he's had over the last few years. It's been an incredible amount.
Okay. And the other thing is, did they ever use the term dystonia?
Dystonia, not that I have heard.
No. When does he fall just like he'll be standing there and he kind of falls?
No, it seems to be more of, it almost looks like telling the feet to move and the feedback isn't there as quick, is what it looks like. And I'm just trying to piece it together, watching as things happen in his life and with him. It's just, he has trouble sometimes getting to the moving, and then it almost looks like stopping the movement.
Does he ever do these little, like when he starts moving, it looks like he's dancing a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. I think he has dystonia. I mean, I'm not trying to diagnose it, but it helps. So there, you know, the vagus nerve can lose tone, but what can happen sometimes is the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system can lose tone, and that's interesting. You know, it's a really hard one to diagnose, and you really almost have to be like almost like looking for it to even find it. Has his writing changed?
Oh, he can't write. He can't grab the pen.
He can't grab the pen at all.
No. Yeah, his
so
hands.
let's have you. I'm gonna give you a list of about 4 or 5 oils,
Okay.
and like a ratio. And if you don't have them, like let us know and we'll make an adjustment. But so marjoram,
Mm-hmm.
and then basil,
Mm-hmm.
and then rosemary,
Okay.
and helichrysum. Do you happen to have helichrysum?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're gonna put 10 drops of marjoram, like find a little bottle that you can blend in.
Okay.
And so you'll do 10 drops of marjoram, 5 drops of basil,
Okay.
about 12 to 15 drops of rosemary, let's just say 15,
Okay.
and then about 5 or 6 drops of the helichrysum.
Okay.
And then mix it in a carrier oil, like mix that all together and shake it up. And then from that, you're gonna put, well, that's about 30 drops right there, right? 15, 25. Okay, so put all of that in a bottle and then an ounce of carrier oil and then shake it up and then rub it on his arms and his neck, like his upper back between his shoulder blades.
Okay.
And do that a couple of times, or have somebody do it like a couple of times a day, and see if that even brings an ounce of relief. Like, let's just see if that brings what kind of relief it will bring.
Okay.
If you can, I would also probably give him a couple of drops of anise or anise, you know, however you want to say it,
Okay.
in water, and have him drink it, just because it will help to tone the sympathetic nervous system and start to balance it out. But if it's what I think it is, we just got to fortify the sympathetic part of the nervous system, and let's start with that. They never threw around the term torticollis, did they?
Not that I've heard.
Okay,
Uh,
so
and I can tell you that Clary Sage has made a world of difference in his life, just so far
Okay.
as even getting worked
keep
up.
him on that as well. Like, you know, have him inhale that. I mean, that's actually fortifying to the nervous system as well.
That's
And
what
it's
I was going at.
antispasmodic. And so, you know, if it's bringing him relief, you know, just stay on it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But try this blend and see if it works. So just kind of concoct it and then add some lotion or massage oil to it, and then, you know, mix it all up and then rub it on the areas and see if it starts to bring him some relief.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
And then maybe email us and just keep us posted on progress. We might have to do several adjustments with that, but it's been a while since I've treated that, but I used to treat that actually quite often because it's such a weird, odd thing. If it is what I think it is,
Yeah.
you know, I have a ton of notes on it, a ton of notes.
Well, and that's where just sitting back and trying to watch and observing and holding myself back from trying to jump in and help all the time.
Right.
I'm trying to take notes and observe so I can really
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And I would say if it's what I think it is, it's not commonly diagnosed.
Okay.
Like I actually wouldn't even know anything about it had an osteopath not pointed it out to me.
Okay.
Like now I can kind of see the signs because he told me what to look for, but up until then I wouldn't have known. You know, it's not super common condition. Yeah.
So, and it was really nice because his last doctor's appointment, he kind of confirmed that he doesn't believe that it is an ALS type.
That's good.
So
Oh my God.
he got him
good.
started on, there's a preventative medicine, or not a preventative, but it just slows it down if it is ALS. I forgot the name of it, but that's all it does. It doesn't help improve anything. All it does is slows down the progression. But the doctor said that throughout all the tests and everything the last couple of times, he's not leaning towards ALS. He's thinking that it's all due to the next surgery.
Yeah. Boy, thank God.
Yeah.
Because that one's a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's try this. Let's put this in motion and we'll kind of go from there. But give it a few days of treatment and just see if it brings him any amount of relief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very
And then
much.
we'll go from there. Yeah, we'll go from there. I'd rather do like lots of baby steps than shotgun a whole bunch of things and you know, just go at it really. Let's make sure that we're getting it with what we're doing rather than just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and Shannon, your hand's raised?
Hey, Shannon.
Hi guys. Hi Samantha. Hi Greg.
Hey.
Hello. So a couple of questions that came up at work today. One of them was a patient of mine whose husband was struggling with gout really bad, and they've got him on several different medications, and he just keeps having side effects and can't seem to get it underway.
The gout medications can be pretty harsh.
Yeah.
So couple of things. There are some really simple oils that you can use. One is the ironbark eucalyptus, or there's another type of eucalyptus called Eucalyptus citrodora. You could put them together, but it's really kind of one or the other. You could put several drops of that in some lotion and rub it on the spot. You know, like if it's the toe or the thumb, you know, you can even rub the whole leg down if needed. a stronger version of that is to still use the ironbark eucalyptus with lovage, either the leaf or the root. And that really helps the ironbark eucalyptus helps to reduce the inflammation and break up some of the deposits in the joint. The lovage is really more about the deposits than it is about the inflammation. You could augment it with like some sort of chamomile or something, like German chamomile, or helichrysum, something that's anti-inflammatory. Anything that's dark blue is always good, or helichrysum, and mix it all together, and then a little ointment, and that should help take him out of crisis and cut down the inflammation. The lovage and the ironbark eucalyptus actually start to break up the little and release and help the body to process the little crystalline deposits that happen in the joint.
Okay.
You could actually even put the lovage. One of the things I like to do for gout is to do like a little dry brush over the low back and the kidney area, and then take several drops of lovage and then put it in a little bit of lotion or a little bit of massage oil, and then just rub it over the kidney area just to help strengthen the kidneys. That can be quite helpful as well. If you don't have those on the kidney area, you could also use like black spruce or white spruce.
Okay.
The black spruce, a little bit more toning to the kidneys. The white spruce has a bit more of an anti-inflammatory effect than the black spruce. And so between that combination, that usually will get them comfortable within a day or two.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the lovage used on a regular basis, I've actually got people where they don't even need the gout medicine anymore.
Perfect. So once they get
Yeah.
out of crisis, just start using the lovage. Would you use
Yeah.
that in like a carrier oil?
I
or-
would use that topically, and then like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, take a drop or two and water and drink it. Like I do lovage probably a couple of times a week just to keep the kidneys regulated and healthy. And I tend to pee a little bit more when I take it, because it's a little bit of a diuretic, but it makes the kidneys, function better. And so the thing is like kidneys are a little bit more sensitive to the essential oils taken internally. So I would just say like once or twice a week is probably good. And then the rest can be topical. And so, you can just make him up a little ointment that he rubs on his low back, or, even if it's on the sides a little bit, just get it somewhere in the area. And that should be enough. And when he's in crisis, one of the things that you could always augment with any sort of pain syndrome is galbanum. Even if it's 2 or 3 drops on the wrist, it really takes the pain level down a little bit and takes the tension out of the body from being in pain. And so when they're in the middle of a crisis, there tends to be more body tension because of the reaction to the pain. And, there's things that are actually better pain relievers, but galbanum is really good about taking the tension out of the body and reducing the body reaction to pain. And so
Would you take
galbanum's-
that internally, the gout?
You could, but actually even just putting it on the wrist or inhaling it, but I usually have them put it on their wrist. A lot of times that's actually strong enough. And so if he's open to taking it internally, go ahead. But if not, just get it on his wrist.
Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
The other thing, before I forget, I've had a couple of patients that I've been treating some keloids with the helichrysum.
Mhm.
And just after 2 weeks, I am so pleased with the progress on that.
Good.
Yes, it's doing wonderful.
Isn't
And
it
then-
amazing? Helichrysum blows my mind sometimes. I've seen it do like tremendous things, and then there'll still be like, oh, I don't know if it's going to treat this. And it just knocks it
Wow.
out of the park. It really is
Well,
amazing.
And my go-to has always been injecting with steroid to break up, the keloids, and there's risk of atrophy and
Sure.
so many other side effects. And I'm like, this is so much better than risking all those
Yeah.
things. So It's
Yeah.
definitely starting to become my next go-to for keloids. And then today's been a really crazy day at work, and I've started getting these really deep chest palpitations. And I'm having a hard time deciphering if it's mine or just the
Right.
stress of the day or my thyroid. But it's every now and then it's just a really deep, almost like a PVC or a really deep thump in my chest.
Palpitations.
My heart rate's just up a little more than it normally is. And I know I haven't had as much water as I typically do in a day because I've been so busy. And I
And we
usually
know
have,
that and your blood pressure is okay? Like you've checked your blood pressure and all that's okay?
I don't have a way to check it right now.
Okay. I mean, palpitations doesn't necessarily mean blood pressure issues. So I mean,
Right.
so a couple of things is you could try Ylang Ylang sometimes will work for palpitations.
Okay.
And then also Neroli. Neroli will sometimes work. And I would probably, either one of those, I would probably put a couple drops on water and take it internally.
Okay. Do you have a preference? Because I have both of them.
I would probably do the Neroli. Ylang Ylang does work, but I think that Neroli is usually a little stronger for it.
Okay. I will
And
try.
so, you know, just see if that calms it down. And if it's also anxiety, both of those would help the anxiety. But my guess is, you know, it could just be stress. And, you know, it's a really bizarre thing with stress. Like you could be emotionally and mentally just chill and fine, but your body could be in a stress state and mentally and emotionally, you don't even feel it. And so, you know, it could be people that you're interacting with. It could be just the intensity of the things you're dealing with. It could be people are coming in an agitated state. You know, it could be all kinds of things. And so I'd almost treat it as, you know, palpitations and then work backwards just to make sure. But both of those would reduce stress as well. So it would reduce stress, they would reduce anxiety, but the palpitation thing, it should reduce the palpitations.
Thank you. And I kind of was wondering that. I am pretty laid back and chill all the time, and I've been getting an increasing amount of like cosmetic fillers, and you know, I'm in dermatology, and that gives me a lot of stress and anxiety because it's just a part of my work that is increasing, and it stresses me out.
Well, plus you're seeing a lot of patients. And so like sometimes it might not even be you, it might actually be the patients that are, you know, worked up or anxious about something. And
I take it all in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm
You're
going to
so
go try the
welcome.
Neroli now.
I'm glad the helichrysum's working out so well for the keloids.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm like, I'm not injecting anymore. I'm going to start handing everyone helichrysum.
Yeah.
Ones that are open to it anyway. I know that's not. All right.
You know what I had one doctor do one time is, you know, because he was making the same point is he goes, you know, he made some comment. He goes, you know, some people aren't into like a holistic-y, new agey, you know, he was saying things like almost like in a derogatory way. So he goes, so I made it into this little, you know, he was making these like little bottles, and he just gave it some like mainstream name, like it was just medicine. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't saying it was a prescription, but he was just making it like it was some over-counter thing that you would get at the drugstore. And, you know, it was essential oils. And he just said, you know, with that, they don't question.
Well,
So,
and you know, that came to me, came to me a little while ago. And I'm like, you know, I could just start calling this scar oil. And no one would question it.
No.
Well, thank you so much.
Dr. You know, Toboggan's scar oil or something, you know what I mean? And like,
Yes.
Who would know?
Exactly.
As long as it worked, it would be fine. And so, yeah.
Well, and I'm using it on one of my nurses that has had some breast biopsies and had some
Yeah.
really large scars, and they had been injected before. And I told her it was just too risky to do that anymore. So,
Yeah.
like, why don't you be my guinea pig? And she sent me some pictures, and she's like, look at how much improved this is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, it was just amazing. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're so welcome. I did use that a lot for when people were having you know breast cancer, where they had either taken out partial, or they had
Mhm.
taken the breast and then replaced it, because the scar tissue there, it's not just the scar tissue, but it also starts to be ranges of motion with the arms and things like that, and can be quite painful. And it was really super helpful for that.
You
Really,
know, she is having problems with that shoulder, and
Yeah.
it's almost like getting caught. Should I have her start rubbing it up on her shoulder?
yeah, like have her hit the spot, and you could have it up there, or you could even like by the time it gets up to the shoulder, you could uh, probably just put like marjoram on it, or mix a little bit of helichrysum and marjoram.
Okay.
And that would still impact the skin and the lesions that are underneath the skin, the scar tissue, but it would also start to help the muscle.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
I did tell her about the marjoram, so I'm glad I'm on track there.
Yeah, you're right on track. And those two work really well together, like really good. Yeah.
Wonderful. And then I'm trying to find my neroli right now, and I'm usually alphabetical here with all my oils, but
Mhm.
which kit? Did that come in a kit that you can
No,
recall?
it's a little bit pricey. So it's it would have been by itself. It's probably a
That
blue.
might have been the one I put back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you
I'll
don't
do
have
the
that, use the Lang Lang.
Okay, I know I have that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
You're so
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Take care, Shannon.
Bye-bye.
Donita, your hand's raised.
Hey, Donita.
Hi, Greg. Finally made it to
Hey,
Tuesday.
hey. How are you?
Good, good, good. I have a quick question. So the last few weeks has been busy, crazy, stressful, and a lot of sleepless nights. All good overall, but
You have allergies right now?
I never have allergies. Even if I
Okay.
do, I don't even know the side effect. I don't even know what I should be feeling. But
Okay.
what I'm sensing, something new. So the nosebleeds have been really crazy. And so I've been taking Shizandra internally. I've been feeling,
And they're not getting better?
huh?
Are they getting better?
They kind of come and then they go again. It's bizarre. But then I feel, so I've got few things that are happening. So I'm not quite sure. It might be just me being super tired. I've got some heart. There's just like tightness and like I don't have problems with my heart, but it feels like I'm out of breath in my
Yeah.
head.
Let's have you go to the drugstore and get your blood pressure checked.
I do. It's fine. It's low.
It's
I have it at home.
low. Okay.
I have the thing at home, but so actually the thing is also my jaws. They've been really super tight the last few weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of tension and stress. Yeah, that's a lot of stress then.
Because I'm also feeling like there's a humming noise in my head, some sort. So that might be all together.
Okay, so gonna get real personal. Diarrhea at all, or constipation?
No, I'm actually, what I've been doing, because my inflammation in the body, I've been taking lymphatic stuff and kidney stuff to flush it out. And I've been using the lymphatic blend in either lymphatic blend, I've been using coconut, in fraction, I can never say that word.
But so no diarrhea.
No, not
And
no.
what about nausea? Are you having any nausea at all?
Nope.
Okay. But lots of stress in the
I don't
external.
sleep. Yeah, I had a lot going on with my pets and a lot of things at home. So I didn't sleep well. And now I go to sleep, I'm tired. I wake up in the middle of the night. many times. It's just, it's weird.
Did she buy the brainwave?
Yes,
You did buy the brainwave kit.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have you do something. It's not anything that's out of one of the class. Well, it's a combination of things out of classes, but so this is what. You look like your delta waves are being impacted while you sleep or trying to sleep, and they're being disrupted by too much activity with alpha waves, which can be like, you know, kind of like in a way you're kind of processing things or going over things like at night while you're sleeping. It could even be a little bit unconscious, but it's more almost alpha would be more associated with like your mind being calm, but in a waking state. So even though you're trying to sleep, it's almost like you're in half sleep, half wake. And so I'd like you to do the pattern with for like the Lord's Prayer, you know, how we do the crown. I'll just lay it out because I don't even know if it's in actually I think it's the end of
I have a pen. I can just write down. But you're
okay.
you're very
Yeah,
right.
so
You're right.
okay, so do crown,
Yeah.
forehead, and when you're on the forehead, do the back head at the same time.
Okay.
And then do the ajna, the area between your eyebrows,
Okay.
and then your throat,
Okay.
and then your heart, like your front heart.
No back, just front.
No, just do the front. Yeah. And then the front solar plexus,
Yeah.
then your navel,
Yeah.
your spleen,
Yeah.
your Mingmen, the sex chakra, the basic chakra, and then to the back spleen, your Mingmen again, and then the top of your head.
Crown.
Right. So you're going to do that first with the theta waves,
Theta. Okay.
and then next you'll do it with the delta waves.
The same protocol. Okay.
Yeah, do the same thing.
But it's you don't. Yes, I feel like I'm in this
Yeah.
sleep awake.
Yeah.
And
You look like you're not quite hitting like things in the REM, non-REM. You're like a little bit. I mean, it happens to any of us. But the thing is like if it happens too long, it starts to increase inflammation in the body. We don't really start to hit the anabolic state in our sleep time. And eventually it causes severe fatigue, you know, by going through and doing that. And so like if you look at people with really bad chronic fatigue syndrome, like it's that, but on steroids, you know, they just kind of almost don't hit delta states when they need to. And so a lot of the pain blends are to alleviate pain, but to put the body in a delta state, which is like kind of a state of little to no activity. I mean, there's always going to be activity because you're alive, but I mean, you know, it's like a quieter time, and it allows the body to calm down, release agitation, and have like a rest and repair mode. And you don't look like you're hitting rest and repair when you're sleeping.
Yeah, it's interesting because the last few weeks, you know, on and off, and I've been doing as much as I could, you know, taking care of like rest and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's been like this adrenal almost fatigue, and I could feel the
Yeah.
buzzing. Like I was just on steroids, but I wasn't
So
like I was busy.
that was what one of the things I was concerned about was whenever you're in that state where you feel like you're in that adrenaline state is marjoram is really good. Like you just take a lot of long slow deep breaths with marjoram, and it pulls you out of it will pull you out of fight flight mode or sympathetic activity, you know, sympathetic nervous system activity. It pulls you out of fight flight, and it helps to improve the tone of the vagus nerve, which is tied to parasympathetic activity or rest and repair. And so you could be inhaling that during the day in times of stress, or like if you're having a little bit of insomnia. This thing that I'm giving you is a way to treat it kind of intensely. Like, you know, I had this in the original sleep class, but I was like, it's too much. Like it was too much for the class. And so, you know, we are going to be integrating it. Like I think Mary was asking, you know, are we going to integrate it, or is it going to be separate? And some of the things we're going to augment some of the treatments with brainwave activity treatments, and certain kinds of insomnia and sleep disorders and things like that. We are going to be tackling with brainwave protocols, and including chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. But here, you know, you want to pull yourself out of fight flight during the day, and then at night that should help continue you not going into fight flight or resting in fight flight. You know, because even like if you're in fight flight and you're laying down, you're still kind of in that place of processing something, because fight flight is the part of your brain that has to do with processing the sensory information. And so you're laying down and you're just kind of processing all the sensory information from the day, from whatever. And even though you're relaxed, you're not in rest relaxation. You're in basically daytime relaxation, which means you should be awake and, you know, doing something or sitting there processing something rather than trying to sleep. And so, yes, it's a relaxed state, but it's not deep enough for sleep. You know, it's still tied to your waking states.
And the body was like really getting really sore, really achy.
Yeah,
because
that's it's the inflammation setting in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mechanically what happens. It's just literally mechanics.
Oh, I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Something happened. I knew because it's like the heart as well. You know, I'm feeling something not quite there. I can feel a lot of things, but in the jaw, you know, and it's interesting because I've been using marjoram. I've been taking baths with marjoram and sea salt, and I've been actually using it as a liniment, not liniment, as in oil, just all over my body.
Yeah.
That for the aches and pains. But what do I do? Last night, I actually sprayed some marjoram liniment on my jaws because I was just like clenched.
So here's kind of a 1-2 punch that you can do. Is get the from the health food store, get that spray on magnesium. You know what I'm talking about? That magnesium that's topical.
Yeah.
And like make it like 20% of that magnesium, because it's the spray is an oil. Like, so you take 20% of that magnesium oil, and then the other part like a lotion or massage oil. And then add a bunch of marjoram to that, and then shake it all up and apply it to the body. And the marjoram and the magnesium work really well together. So it will take a lot of tension out of the body very, very quickly. Yeah, we have a bunch of products that we're making for like just turnkey that aren't like the oils, but they're like sprays and liniments and ointments. And, you know, we've been working on them for about a year, doing test runs and, you know, just making sure that they do what we want them to do and everything. But one of the ones is to use like antispasmodic oils with a bunch of magnesium oil and mix it all together and then apply it topically. And it just takes the tension out of the body so fast. I actually mix for the one, what am I mixing? Oh, I'm mixing magnesium and then an ionic lithium, because the lithium calms down the sensory nerves. You know, it's topical. It's not internal. This is all topical. It's meant to be a topical treatment.
I started taking magnesium internally, and what I did is marjoram in water, and I rinsed like with
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
Perfect.
helped, but doesn't last.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It helps, but your issue is actually your sleep.
Yeah, yes, because I
it's
have
your
been
sleep.
sleeping in God knows how long, you know?
Yeah. As soon as you start to regulate the sleep, you'll start going in the spiral of getting better.
And
But
I
like
function
you can chase all of these symptoms, but really the issue is you have a little bit of a sleep issue. And so no matter what, it's always going to come back to the sleep issue. I mean, it will start to affect your emotions. It will start to affect your mood. It will start to affect your thought processes, you know, and it all is tied to the sleep.
Yeah, I've been nailing it down with all the oils I can and everything that I could, but I can tell that it's like needs to go.
Yeah. Do that protocol over the next couple of nights and see how you feel, and then from there we can make some adjustments. You know,
Okay,
but like at least 2 or 3 nights solid.
And it's okay. It's like just before going to sleep, just do that.
Yeah,
And go bye-bye.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you'll probably start to like doze off when you start to do it. You know, I mean, it's going to make you expel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It is going to make, but you know, you're pretty tough. You've been in so many classes that I don't even think I need to say like you're going to expel.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
you'll just shake it off. So in the morning, if you feel a little groggy, it's probably congestion, energetic congestion.
So what do I
Just get
do?
rid of, you know, you could spray down with like chocolate root cleanser or like Palo Santo or something like that. Just get it moving and you'll be fine.
Okay. And a strong cup of coffee.
And a strong cup of coffee or just movement, health raise blend, you know, just even inhale the health raise blend.
You
It
know,
opens up your raise.
I actually diffused that in the house today for some reason.
Yeah,
I felt
yeah.
called to do
Just
that.
put it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm breathing a lot of hyssop and a lot of that. I'm diffusing a lot of that, you know, Palo Santo, hyssop and Splenda and health race today was for the first time.
Yeah. Hyssop's really good for not absorbing things from the environment, the negativity from other people and things. So probably always good for everybody to use. But
And clearing, yes. Oh, thank you so much,
yeah,
Greg.
it's a great way to clear a space too. Like if the room is, you know, full of stress energy, or, you know, there was just, you know, an intense meeting or intense conversation, you know, diffuse hyssop or spray hyssop or, you know, do whatever, man, it clears it up like that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
My husband is in Nevada staying in a rented place, and I was like, go get yourself a diffuser. I gave him some oils, the basic oils, diffuse hyssop as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because that was the thing, like when I used to travel and, you know, I'd like to meditate in the hotel room sometimes, but sometimes the hotel rooms are a little too, you know, energy from other people. It's not the greatest place to meditate. So I would burn incense to clean the space up. And then they really buckled down on, you know, burning anything in a room. And so I, you know, it really took me a while of like, oh, what am I going to do? And so, you know, I tried a couple of things and man, hyssop or Palo Santo will clear a space in no time, like no time. You know what else clears a space really fast too is Glory of Lebanon.
Yeah, but it's barbecue.
Yeah, it smells like a barbecue, but it's
Thank you very much, Greg. I'll do
You're
it and
so
I'll
welcome.
send you guys an
You're
email.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you so much.
yeah. Keep us posted.
And weekend class with Angels is gonna take me right where I need to go, right?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Can you spell the name of the oil that clears the space? I'm not familiar with that. I don't know.
So there, one is hyssop, the HYSSOP,
No,
and then
it
the
was
other one
last-
is Palo Santo.
I
So
got that one.
Okay,
Glory of
The other one you
Lebanon.
said.
Glory of Lebanon.
It's
It's
a
a blend. Yeah, it's basically cypress, fir balsam, and juniper. It's the reason it's called Glory of Lebanon is it's referencing a quote from King Solomon out of the Old Testament, and you know, it talks about the glory of Lebanon. You know, it's a reference to transmutation, and so those three oils, when combined, are very good for transmuting.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so
Greg, can I ask you a quick question, please?
sure. Yeah.
It's
What's
on
in the lymphatic
it's on the-
gland?
You know, I kind of refined it here not too long ago, so I just did an updated version of it. Let me look. So it's ginger, white pepper, cypress, cedar, sage, mugwort. You know what? I'm giving you my old formula. Hold on. Let me look up the new version. No, that is the new one. Okay, so sage, mugwort, rosemary, thyme, turmeric, golden eucalyptus, and frankincense serrata.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
What were
You
these
know,
oils for, listed for?
it's part of a blend that I make for the lymphatic system.
and can I ask you another quick question, please?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I asked you before, like a carrier oil, super light carrier oil for the face.
Mhm.
So yeah, but what are the best oils and safe oils for the skin, for the face? You know, to kind of brighten.
One that I
lighten?
one that I use quite a bit for facial oils is rosehip oil.
But essential oils besides helichrysum.
Oh, essential oils. Oh, besides carrier oils. Cistus is used in cosmetics. Myrtle is used in cosmetics. Helichrysum is used substantially in cosmetics. Alimi can be used. Definitely things like rose oil and things like that.
Rosewood? Is there
No,
rosewood?
rose oil.
Oh.
You know, like Damascus rose. I mean, for the price, it's not the most practical thing to do. Cistus is because it's a really super good astringent. You know, it tightens up the tissue. Myrtle is because it's anti-inflammatory, and helichrysum anti-inflammatory, and it opens up congested skin, and helps get to the bottom layers of the skin, you know, so basically you could say it detoxifies a little bit, but it helps the skin stay kind of hydrated, so to speak. Like it's not hydrated like water, but it's like it helps get blood and everything to the parts of the body parts of the layers of skin that are lacking circulation, but without being stimulating, you know, like without being hot. Helichrysum applied to the skin also is stimulates the liver, the kidneys, the spleen to detoxify. Parsley is also really super good. You know, you'd use that at night. You could use it as like a facial scrub. Poplar is actually also really super good for the skin.
Fancy.
Yeah, that's again getting fancy. Another one, like if you're trying to you know, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're starting to be concerned about
It's
like
more for
prevention of skin cancer and things like that. Parsley combined with a little tiny bit of hyssop can be really good for any skin area that you're concerned about as far as like skin cancers. Not to treat skin cancer, but it helps to regenerate the skin. Like it's a cell regenerator. And so frankincense can actually be good for the skin as well. But usually those first three that I mentioned, helichrysum, cistus, and myrtle are kind of the go-to ones for that. Malemi, I think, is for like more like oily skins or skin where it's patchy, where it's oily in one area and a little bit dry in another. Malemi can be very good. Sometimes they'll use cedar for really oily skin areas.
Thank
yeah.
you, Greg, because I want to
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's more like my intention is for bringing, you know, hydration and balancing the skin, just to go natural as much as possible, because these days,
Helichrysum is always super good for that. Helichrysum is always super good for that, and myrtle would probably be good for that as well.
and if it's the oily combination, it's alamy, right? Just adding that to it.
Yeah,
or cedar.
yeah. That's what I've been told. Like, you know, a lot of times when I'm treating the skin, I'm treating like areas or an area over like an arthritic area, or, you know, we're treating something where there's been, you know, damage. I have done some work with the skincare on the face, but I don't have a big enough repertoire of things that I've treated for that, for like, you know, normal everyday skincare. Usually I'm treating like some sort of health issue, like, you know, a scar, a cancer site, you know, something like that. Yeah.
And what do you like the grapeseed carrier oil? What do you think?
It can be a little bit greasy for the face. Like for the body, I think it's okay, but it can be a little bit too greasy. And so avocado oil is real thin. There's another one that's real thin, but rosehip is what's traditionally been used for, you know, doing stuff on the face. It's just, it's a little pricey for base oils. You know, you would use it just for the face.
Yeah. Do you guys carry it on your website?
I don't know that we have it on the website, but I have it. So like, you can always email it. I mean, I buy it in big quantities, so we could get it to you pretty cheap.
Okay, I'll email you.
Yeah, I get most of the base oils I get actually out of direct from where they process it, like where they process it before it goes to people to make it into, you know, like gallon size containers. And so a lot of that stuff comes out of Africa.
Your oils, guys, are just phenomenal on all levels. So I'm loving it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's a big big distiller out of Africa that it's like a co-op with a bunch of people, and a lot of the base oils come out of Africa before they go other places.
Okay, thank you very much for this.
Mhm.
Question, would lovage internally be good too for renal artery stenosis diagnosis?
Oh, what were we just looking at? Actually, you know, I just stumbled across a piece of something for that. It wasn't that particular one, but it was just anything like chronic kidney issues is mugwort in lotion rubbed over the kidney area. Like, you know, put 4 or 5 drops on in your hand with some massage oil, and then rub it over the kidney area on a daily basis. And I had read a thing about they had used that for chronic, really super chronic kidney issues, even to the point where it's kidney failure. You know, you just try to improve function the best that you can. But
What's good for TMJ?
TMJ can be body misalignment, could be tension. So it's one of those things where it's you have to just start kind of treating to see what's up. And so marjoram is always a good starting place for TMJ. Inhaling it and rub it on your neck and shoulder area. Yeah, lots of long, slow, deep breaths. You know, because you're a lot of times trying to take yourself out of fight, flight. You could actually even put it in a little bit of massage oil and rub it on the sides of the face to take some of the tension out. Also using things like anise or galbanum, either internally or inhaled, to take the tension out of the respiratory tract and out of the gut. Sometimes that is producing tension in the autonomic nervous system and causing some of the fight flight issues. And then hyssop, long deep breaths with hyssop also will tend to relax the body and deepen the breath. And so a lot of times when you do that, it might not make it completely go away, but it will reduce it quite substantially. You can put a couple of drops of water of marjoram and then kind of do like a gargle and then spit. That can be helpful as well.
Would the marjoram and helichrysum Greg talked about for Shannon's patient also be good for frozen shoulder?
It definitely could be a starting place. Frozen shoulder can be, there's like a stiff shoulder, and then frozen shoulder also starts to be where there starts to be calcium deposits on the back side, the front. It's actually the front side of the shoulder blade, like where it kind of moves up against the rib cage. And so, you know, it's that little wing bone that's kind of on the back side. And so helichrysum and marjoram could be helpful. And then also a combination of ironbark eucalyptus and the lovage. You know, that blend that we make, the Arthricare, is designed for calcium deposits in joints and things. And so 2 of the big components are the ironbark eucalyptus and the lovage. That can be also very, very helpful. Yeah, I mean, I would start with those 2, and I mean, a couple times a day if you can. The other thing that I like to do with stuff like that is put like a bunch of pine oil and alcohol and make it like a spray. And if you have a little bit of galbanum and wintergreen, you can add a little bit of that to it. But you know, it's mostly going to be pine. And then put alcohol in it and then shake it up and then spray it and rub it on the area several times a day. And you know, you're trying to decongest the area of like blood and lymph and detoxify the area. So think of it as like doing something over a period of time rather than it just being a single treatment. You know, a lot of times with medical aromatherapy, we're not looking for the one or two application and boom, it's cured. You're trying to nurture the body into a place of like higher function or better function and slowing down degeneration. So you're kind of trying to nurture the body into a place that's better for the body to be able to, you know, heal itself. And so you're going to probably do a multifaceted approach where the pine liniment you can spray on the area, and then you can make a massage oil with the helichrysum and the marjoram, or like the Arthrocare version of either Arthrocare or lovage and ironbark eucalyptus. Excuse me. And you could probably even throw a little rosemary in there just for circulation, and then rub that on the area. And you're really going to kind of rotate between the three of them. But over a period of time, you know, within a few days, you should start to notice that the shoulder starts to move much more substantially. And the thing that's good about using the lovage is it will stimulate the kidneys to function better. The types of pine that I like to use for the liniment is I like to do like a 1-2 punch. I actually use 2 different pines for that. I mix Sylvester pine, which stimulates cortisone production in the body. You know, so it's like a natural occurring steroid in the body. And then dwarf pine. And I don't even know, do we have that on the site? We might not even have that one on the site. We'll put it up on the site for you guys. It's dwarf pine is something I use in blends, but I don't know if we put it on the site for you guys. But it's a really super good lymphatic decongestant. And it has, the combination has a bit of an analgesic effect, like, you know, pain relieving effect. And so it takes some of the pain out and helps clean the joint up so that it can start functioning more properly. Yeah. God, you guys have had really like a bunch of really good questions tonight.
Talking about rose oil, the chief priest of one of the temples in South India asked for a good rose oil and mentioned Turkish rose oil. Is that the best? Do you sell the rose oils individually?
Yeah, we sell the rose oils individually. Turkish rose is it's definitely one of the top like 3 or 4. Like when you start getting up there, it starts to be like kind of preference. The Turkish oil is really good. It's probably about the equivalent to the Damascus. You know, they're just really right there at the border. And so it's like one region or another region. The Damascus and the Turkish are very, very similar. And in fact, a lot of times the Damascus rose is Turkish rose that's been smuggled across the border and then sold as Damascus rose. Those are both very, very good, very solid. And then the most premium oil, it's quite rare. Here we call it Rose Alba. It is the white rose. It is, they called it the Holy Rose for a long period of time because it was cultivated exclusively by the Church of England. And then for some reason they stopped cultivating it and people picked up and started cultivating it, and then it made it into an oil. And then it is the only rose oil that activates both the heart and the crown. And Rose Alba is considered the most premium of the rose oils. And so, you know, there's not a whole lot of it made every year. I mean, there's several kilos of it made every year, but, you know, we only buy up like maybe 8 ounces a year or something. But, it also has a price tag to it. And so the Turkish rose and the Damascus rose is a bit cheaper. And then the Rose Absolute is a very inexpensive way to have, it's still real rose, it's not steam distilled, it's done more of an absolute. So it's a bit of a heavier note. It still smells kind of rosy, but not quite the way that the Turkish or the Damascus does. And then the Rose Alba is an even higher end rose. And so we also blend all of those together and do a Rose Supreme. So you can get the benefit of all the roses. And so, once you start playing with rose, as long as it's not synthetic, you're doing pretty good. But the Turkish and the Damascus are about the same. And then the Alba is a little bit nicer. I mean, nicer, you're splitting hairs, but it's nicer. It's a little bit more of an even higher note scent-wise, and then it activates the crown.
And then Cindy, your hand's raised.
Hey, Cindy.
Hi. You might have talked about this, but I had a phone call, so I missed part of it. I was asking about the A+ kit to go with the brainwaves class, and if you could maybe talk about the value of that compared to the regular kit that comes with that class.
So the regular kit will still function. You're going to be guided through the protocols that like a single oil will do it, and in the Vital Center kit, the A+ kit doesn't include the brainwaves. That's like kind of a separate thing. But this is basically for the 11 centers that we'll be targeting in the Vital Centers that all have to do with limbic function. And so they're not something that's on the site. And even when we were talking about doing this class, they're really strong for what they do. And so I was going back and forth like, oh, did we release them? Do we not release them? I've used them therapeutically for a long time, but sometimes they're so strong I don't even have people do patterns. I'll just have them inhale the oil, and it starts shifting their nervous system quite substantially. Limbic function is tied to like your nervous system and like emotional body, and so you're really calming down that physiological emotional component, and you're calming down some of your neurology at the same time. And so this is based on some esoteric teachings that probably the easiest place to access them is, or at least see them, is in Astara. But even there, they don't talk about them too much. They just kind of mention them, and then they kind of mention them here and there a little bit. But we went through, and over the years, it's been part of some of the protocols. I just haven't talked about directly that it's tied to these vital centers, but it's like the precursor to what you would do with the Zodiac class, the alchemical Zodiac class.
Yes.
It would take the Zodiac class much, much deeper. And so it really calms down the lower emotions. I mean, it really calms them down. And so people who have gotten triggered, who are easily triggered either just from stress and being frazzled, or because of trauma, or abuse or whatever, this is basically what I used to always use. Is I would run them through just a few of them at a time, or sometimes I'd run them through all at once. But like a few weeks ago, I was telling everybody that there was a couple people who had gotten kind of triggered, and I didn't even run them through patterns. I just had them start smelling the oils, and it calmed them down. And then something happened that normally would have triggered them, even if they weren't in a triggered state, and they could just say, like, observe it and go, wow, like normally I would be triggered, but I'm not even triggered right now. And so, you have to kind of keep doing it a little bit, but you'll notice that after a while, your emotions they just calm down, and it really allows for higher emotions, but like higher mental faculties to really start kicking in. Yeah. So these are not oils that we're not even going to post them on the site, where, if somebody needs a fill-in or something, we can do that. But we're just selling them in the kit, and because they really don't have an application outside of treating limbic issues. And so, you wouldn't really do a hit and miss with it. You'd kind of go through the whole set of symptoms, unless you were making like products for topical things to treat emotional responses. Yeah, they're incredibly relaxing.
So they're tied.
But not like sleepy relaxing. You know what I mean? They're like relaxing, but you're like, I'm not worked up today. I'm not getting triggered today. I'm not, not getting stressed out, because sometimes even the stress is your physiology is reacting and not your emotional or mental body. So it's even calming that down.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
And so there's Erlene Cheney, like each center, she put like a, like one of the ventricles, she put like spiritual lake, and then like the, she just had like little esoteric names that she called these areas. And so I even put that information in there for you guys to kind of have as a reference, because there's very strong esoteric principles, but it could be easily applied to physical and psychological issues. And I was going back over my notes, and the cases where I got really good results in treating really crazy viral conditions and cancers, where we got really good results. A majority of them I had treated the vital centers. I had actually kind of forgotten about it. And I was going back and I was flipping through my notes from way back when. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, when I had put the last entry. And a lot of the success stories had treating the vital centers as one of the early components to the treatment.
Okay, so they're not really part of the class, but the class comes with.
The class will come with a kit, but they would be too expensive to be able to do that way. So we're just making like kind of a normal kit, and we're even doing the kit a little bit differently. But these would never be part of a.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like they're super A+.
All right, thanks for that
Yeah, you're so
clarification. I
welcome.
was a little
You're so
confused.
Donita?
Hi, Greg. It's
Hey,
me
Donita.
again.
Hey.
Quick question regarding this fancy A+ kit. Will it be okay for my brain right now?
Yeah, actually, it would be probably helpful. In fact, there's one person who has super chronic like brain issues and chronic fatigue syndrome that we're actually doing a test run on to see how it treats. And so again, the issue is to try to improve the quality of sleep. And so, you're nowhere near in the same position as that person, but, same idea, disruptions with delta waves and things like that in sleep.
Okay. And another question, in one of the previous classes, and I didn't make a note, you mentioned about the rosemary that you never used to put it on the web.
Yeah, it's the Tucson blue rosemary. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
the fancy, something different one. Okay.
Yeah, it's the reason is it's really super hard to get. It comes out of Africa, and it's a stronger antispasmodic than the other rosemaries. But I've been working with this one distiller in Africa for a while, and we just like way ahead of time, like bought a bunch of things before they were even distilled. And so we're just starting to have those things that roll in. And I bought like enough to be able to do my blends and make it available for you guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It took planning on my part to be able to pull some of these things off for you guys.
Could Greg say a bit more about how the Vital Centers class kit works with the nervous system?
Well, we'll be targeting the limbic system. So it's how your nervous system in your body impacts your lower emotions. And so it has a lot to do with your emotional states, the lower emotional states, but also how your body reacts to things in the environment. It has to do with like emotional learning. It has to do with how you process things like fear and trauma. Yeah. And when these things become regulated, it becomes easier and easier for higher vibrational energies to come in. So part of it is you're calming things down so that the immune system works better. It's not as hypervigilant as before, and it's able to go and function better when it comes to viruses and cancers and things. You know, it's not a cure for any of this, but it definitely helps improve the function. But it definitely will calm emotions down that are based on your physiology. And then it, like in a way you could say it helps to organize your mind because you're not being overloaded by sensory information. Yeah.
Can Greg please say what Action Blend, Integration Blend, and Sharonaka tea are for? I think actually I'd like to add to their question, Action Blend, inertia, and integration.
Oh, so like Action Blend is about getting something new inside. You know, it's helping to get something into the heart, and you're putting something in motion. And then inertia keeps it from going, like it takes it and runs with it, keeps it going from a downward spiral to more of an upward spiral. And then integration starts to harmonize the two components. So like anytime you're trying to bring something new in or make a change or a shift, your body is always in like this state of trying to maintain balance or homeostasis. And it really resists like shifts and changes of something new. And then it starts to turn into your physiological emotions and then the instinctive mind, right? And so this helps to bring something in and allow the body to shift and integrate it. You know, so you're kind of walking through the steps of gently bringing in something new while overriding the resistance of the body and the lower emotions. And so it's going to be tied to a prosperity class that we actually teach in Sarasota in May. And so those oils probably won't be in the kit, but some of the oils in the blends, we can't access enough of the oils to make it for everybody's kit, but eventually we should be able to. But we have enough to make a little bit of them. And so, yeah, that's one that I accidentally put, where did we do it? I think it was it Seattle? We accidentally put it on the table in Seattle. And so it wasn't supposed to be out to the public yet. And then it got out. And so we just said, well, but we weren't going to release it until May. It's like, if you've smelled the Action Blend, it is so clearing to the chest and the heart. It is crazy. Like, it's like all the tension in my chest is just gone. It is crazy. And part of it is there's a certain type of spruce, the Sitka, and then larch. Like, we were able to access some larch, but we can only get about 4 or 5 ounces right now until they do their next distillation. So larch is super, super rare. It just fell off everybody's radar. So I've financially motivated the distiller to distill a whole bunch of it, and I'm buying up everything that they make. because I mean, it's just an incredible oil. Larch is the only, not that this says anything about it therapeutically, but it's the only evergreen that loses its leaves in the wintertime, which is kind of interesting. And it should pan out to be not too expensive. So
And then Sharanagati.
Sharanagati is an anointing oil. It basically increases conductivity to whatever deity you're putting your attention to. But it is truly an anointing oil.
I think they're seeing some of the new ones. Dreaming.
Dreaming. It's to help just that dreaming. Yeah.
Wait, 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah. We're sorry, we're not going to get to do a process tonight.
Hey, Greg.
I can answer one more question.
Oh, quick question. This dreaming thing, if I get the, those A+, is the dreaming, a good wall for me? Like,
I would say do the theta and the delta, and the vital centers will definitely augment what you're trying to do. It should be helpful. I'm thinking that, we're doing some test runs on some individuals, but we're even thinking that the vital centers are probably going to be a treatment for chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And so I'm waiting till I get some more clinical evidence of that, but preliminary look at it is looking good. And then, it just helps to regulate the immune system, especially the parts that fight viruses, bacteria, and cancers and things. And that would also be tied to autoimmune type issues. And so the vital centers are good for anybody who's also doing the angel work, materialization. I mean, there's a couple of these classes where we could have thrown them under any of the classes, and it would have, it could have been materialization, could have been angels, it could have been the alchemy classes, and the vital centers would fit in any of those. So healing classes.
so the dreaming oil is just to help you dream or help?
Yeah, I would say like you could put that one on the back burner. Like
Okay.
look at the vital centers and then doing those two things that we're talking about.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
You're so boy, thanks for a great Q&A session tonight, you guys. We will see some of you this weekend. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday and we'll pick up where we left off. But I got to jump into another meeting. And so, boy, loved hearing from you guys tonight, and we'll keep that ball rolling next week. And then in April, we'll start doing a practice session on Wednesdays that will just be about an hour, but it will be just like an ongoing thing where we bounce around from materialization to a healing thing. And, we'll try to augment your guys' practices as much as possible. So